To take you back a bit to age 16, Alex, wearing a Budweiser t-shirt with a Budweiser bottle in hand, wearing chino shorts, it's safe to say at that age, I was pretty damn cool. No, jokes aside, this is probably one of the skinniest photos I found of myself as a kid. And I'm going to take you through my journey 10 years down the line, where I'm now in a position where I'm a PT, coach, and all-round lover of everything fitness. This has been a hell of a journey. It's been a credible 10 years, and I'm going to share it with you and hopefully inspire people to start making those changes in their lives as well. We're going to start at the very beginning. We're going to go back a bit. Me at uni on the left, I put on a bit of size. I got a bit fat. And I was just enjoying myself too much. I was having too many beers. I was having too many takeaways. And that was a direct reflection on the person on the left. I started making a change. I wanted to look better. I wanted to feel better. I wanted, to be honest, to be more attractive to people. I wanted to look better. I wanted to start finally having a bit of muscle to show for it. What I then did was went down a horrendous journey of too much cardio, and I didn't really have anything to show from it. This resulted in the skinny guy that you see in the middle with not really any muscle mass. I say not really, I mean none. I then started a process where I started having to put on muscle. I started taking progress photos in the mirror, and I started to slowly develop that muscle. I started to see progress, and it made me want it more and more and more. It made me want to chase it. At this point, I was starting to make gains. I was starting to see the strength. I was starting to improve certain lifts like my bench or my squat. I was starting to finally sort of see what my work was putting in. However, I was still enjoying myself. I was still going out every night. I was still drinking all the time. I was at uni. I was enjoying myself. And whenever I came home, I always got into decent nick. I got into a bit of a leaner state, and I would always start to see more muscle. And again, it was this constant spiral of wanting more and wanting to build more and more muscle and look better and feel better. It was always at the start a case of wanting to look great. That's all I wanted. That was literally my main primary focus. I then was even putting on way more size than I kind of ever thought. And I was finally starting to really put on some muscle and see what my hard work had done. After uni, I went on an incredible journey. I went on a really intense lean bulk and then a very strict cut. I was then about to go traveling for 5 months with Sarah and my girlfriend, and I seriously enjoyed that, and I worked so hard before going traveling and coming out of uni to really just be in amazing shape. And it was the first time probably in my life that I was really properly mixing nutrition and mixing weights and having a very concrete plan, not going out every night, not drinking every night, but still at the end of the day, I then went traveling for 5 months. I did what I could. I trained where I could. I trained in some amazing locations. I was full of carbs. Like you see, I was holding on to definition. I was trying everything I can. I felt horrendous when I didn't manage to get to the gym. I was obsessed, and it was all I thought about, and all I wanted to do while we were away traveling was find a gym. My best friend Chan came out and visited us in Golds. This was always a dream. We spoke about this at uni. It was literally like, Al, imagine going to Golds and training there. It would be insane. So when we got to do this, it was a pretty big pinch me moment. As you can see, I look pretty weak. Those pull-ups are nothing massive. From here, coming out of traveling, I really then went back into that routine. I went back into that routine I had before traveling, and I went hard. I went seriously hard and just tried to put as much of that size and that muscle definition on that I'd lost, and my body reacted very quickly. I almost started developing beginner gains where we first experience the gym and our body just reacts well. Our body puts on muscle and our body drops fat, and that's literally what my body had done, because for 5 months I hadn't really been in a solid routine. I trained here and there, but it wasn't a lot. So when I came home, oh my god, the gains were insane, and I was really lean. I was looking great, I was feeling great. And that short routine that I had just been on coming back home, as I said, my body was reacting very well, and I was in decent nick. I was pretty proud, but again, I didn't have too much muscle. I was very lean, but there wasn't too much to show. I then started the process of really deciding I wanted to be a PT. This is when I really went down the route of chasing after my dream and having that time off to go traveling and decide what I really wanted to do with my life was incredible. And those 5 months really shaped what I do now for forever, for the rest of my life. So I came back from traveling, I hammered the gym, and then I began my PT qualification. I then got a job at a gym in Knutsford called Cotton's, and I worked there for a year. It was an unbelievable experience and something that I've take so much knowledge from. I learned so much. I had so much experience. It was probably one of the best places for me to learn and experience firsthand where kind of I really enjoyed and what I really wanted to do. And it was kind of here the start of my functional training began. Before, all I cared about was bodybuilding. All I cared about was looking great. All that was my main focus. From here, it was now like, well, hang on, I could have some fun. I could do some clean and jerks. I could do some snatches. I could have some fun with some explosive movements. It was all becoming new, and it was all becoming a lot more fun. And it was a new way to test my training. I was moving in different ways. I was testing myself in different ways, and I was learning a lot about the body in terms of movement, mobility, and how important it is to not just be able to do a bicep curl, but also being able to do cleans, being able to replicate movement patterns in everyday life that will benefit us, and then relaying that over to my clients. I think for me, it was a big learning curve that I needed to know about how I effectively move bodies, because that was my clientele. I then had some pretty mad experiences. Like I warmed up 400, 500 people for the Tatton 10K, which was insane. That was my first time doing something on that scale, obviously. And I was ridiculously nervous. Those that are OGs on the YouTube subscribers will have seen these videos before. It was incredible and something that definitely shaped me. I then carried on. I went on a journey where I was then going on IB for cut. So I then went on a very strict deficit. This was probably the period in my life where I can probably put my hands up and say that was the leanest I've ever been. Like, I was very lean. I felt absolutely shredded, but man, did I feel it. Okay, I looked great, but I did not feel good whatsoever. I was restricting my food to an insane amount, but it was showing and it was working, and what I was doing was really paying off. As I said, I then went to Ibiza. I went on a holiday, and that was kind of my big summer, where probably the last time that I've really focused on leaning up for holidays and really focusing on just making sure to be in the best shape possible. I then went to Bali with Sarah, which again, I continued that cut when I came home from Ibiza and carried on going hard on the calories. Yes, I was focused on functional training and moving better, but I was still in that mind of looking good. That's all I wanted. I wanted to be lean. I wanted to look great, and I wanted to go on a bit of a bulk. I wanted to put size on. I wanted to really commit for a long period of time, which I'd never done before. I started really focusing more and more on my strength, on my big lifts, and I was just really focusing on making sure I could just do as best as I could and be as strong as possible. And for the first time in my life, all I cared about was hitting different and more and better numbers in every single session. It played massively. I started to put on a decent size. I started to see muscle that I hadn't seen before, and I started to hit body weight numbers that I hadn't necessarily seen before, and I was starting to really feel like I was putting on a much larger foundation. This got to a point where I then just knocked it on the head. I felt that I was eating way too much food and I was bored. I was eating 4,500 calories and I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I didn't want to do it, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to maintain and I'm going to be happy. This is where my training really changed. Sarah and I became much more involved with CrossFit and really focusing on functional training, and even more so starting to do open workouts, starting to really look at what CrossFit is and following movements in there and really trying to be a better individual. Yes, I was in shape, but now I wasn't really focused on it. It wasn't my main focus to be lean, to look good. My main focus was to be mega. I then signed for Bulk Powders. Incredible. Like, my first company that I ever signed a contract with, and to me is the best supplement company in the UK. So why I wouldn't go anywhere else? And for Bulk Powders to ask to be my first one, it was incredible. And It's been an incredible journey over the last year with them, and I can't wait for what the future holds. I then continue to get strong. I then continue to develop those strengths in certain areas. Carried on training with my partner in crime, and I just became stronger and stronger and stronger, and that's all I really wanted. I just wanted to be as strong as possible, start hitting big numbers, and I've still got a long way to go, and I've still got a lot of numbers that I want to hit, but my attention was really now on making sure I was moving the best way possible. I then did my first ever video shoot for Pulse Roll in a freezing cold December in Train, but it was incredible. What a day, and it was one that I still am paying the rewards for. Just last night, I went and bought a men's fitness magazine and I was in it, and it was pretty damn cool to say the least. And that was all thanks to Pulse Roll. That then continued. I continued on into this year, and I was starting now to be able to get pretty strong in those Olympic lifts. I was starting to really develop some nice strength. I was getting stronger with my mobility. I was being able to get in better positions, but I was continuing to get stronger in every area that I was trying to. My bench was going up, my squat cleans were going up. From here, this was a big moment in my life, and I signed for Lululemon. I became a Lululemon ambassador in the Manchester store, and that was pretty incredible. That was a pretty pinch me moment, and we had an incredible event where we welcomed hundreds of people, and it was a big event and group coaching, and just it's amazing to be part of that community. I'm now in a position where I feel strong and I can perform well. My main focus and my pure focus is, at the end of the day, being able to do cool shit. We got to a position where just before lockdown, which came about March in the UK, I was hit a PB of 3 squat cleans for 100 kilos, which was pretty mega. From there, I then went and clean and jerked 105. And then we moved into lockdown. So we moved into lockdown with some different goals in mind, and mine was all gymnastic based. Mine was getting better at a lot of bodyweight movements. So I bought a pair of rings, and here you see me first hitting that first ever muscle up. And then that was the kind of journey that I've been on in lockdown and at home, working through muscle ups, working through my handstand push-ups, working to just get as strong as possible and developing those reps over the period that we've been in lockdown to a position where I am today. And I'm continuing progressing. I'm continuing to test myself in every shape or form of fitness. I'm a big believer of training everything and being ready for anything, and that's all I want to do. I want to be able to do cool shit, and if looking good is a byproduct of that, that is fine by me, but my main focus is on being strong, fit, powerful, and everything that is included around fitness. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this journey. I hope you can take away from this, and I hope I can inspire some of you to get in the gym and start making a change. And it's pretty crazy to think that when I first started picking up that weight, that it actually would shape my entire life. And where I started to where I am today, it's pretty crazy. The journey I've been on, even just after qualifying as a PT in the last 3 years, but before that as well, training in the gym for 4 years, totaling 7 years. It's been amazing, and I hope that some of you watching this, listening to this, feel the same and want to go on that journey yourselves. And just know that it's a long process, but you've got to stay dedicated and you've got to stay patient and keep moving forward. I can't wait to see what the next 7 years hold for me, and I know for my business, for my clients, for everything around, I know my love for the game is just going to get more and more, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. And on that note, I will catch you in the next one. I'll see you very, very soon. Alex, out.